Faith Promise has always been our space of overflow and of generosity. It's been a fund that our congregation has given to for very long. It's our space of giving in faith. And your generosity has been streamed into three streams, the partner ministries, the missionaries, and the Hatfield initiatives, which is our focus for today. These are homegrown projects started right here in Hatfield, and they include the 3 Hatfield children's homes, local and international partnerships, local and international outreaches, our hospital ministry, the Kingswood Village Initiative, the Hatfield Warehouse, and our TCN churches. The TCN is the Christian Network. Just some highlights from this stream is that through your generosity to the COVID fund and especially your donations to the Hatfield Warehouse, we could help even more people. We could give locally and internationally, and especially to families in need, we could provide much needed clothing and food. We continued our connection with the Khazar Al-Dabara Church in Egypt. We given specifically towards their evangelistic projects within the Middle East, and that specifically included also helping refugees in various countries. Donations from Faith Promise goes towards the Year of Your Life program. That is to help underprivileged students to be a part of this wonderful program. We could help 23 students this year. Part of the Faith Promise funding goes specifically towards exposing them to outreaches. These outreaches really benefit local ministries as well as our TCN churches. Just in total, our Year of Your Lifers went on 11 outreaches. They spent 78 days on outreach collectively, and they traveled 14,000 kilometers over this period. And of course, our Faith Promise money goes towards our 3 Hatfield children's homes, Naledi, Little Angels Haven, and the Jabez House. We also actively pursue other ways of coming alongside families who function within the foster space or other forms of alternative care, and to see how we can help in that way. And because of that endeavor, we could help 5 additional families during this past year. But today, we have with us a couple who really personally responded to the need of vulnerable children within South Africa. They decided to respond with their own lives, and it's Shawn and Chantal. They are from the Jabez House. Jabez is based at the Rayton Christian Church, and Shawn and Chantal, alongside their biological children, they are fostering and they have adopted children. So it's really a privilege for us to have them with us today. Welcome. I'll start with you, Chantal. If you can just tell us what motivated you to foster, to help so many children.
Lena, I think it really just comes down to the love of Christ at the end of the day. I believe that the Lord really has got a heart for adoption. That's why he went to such extreme measures to adopt us as his children and bring us into his family. And it's that love that compels us. It's changed us and made us want to live our lives wholly for him. And so when Shawn and I met, we felt very much that we would want to open our home to children in need and have a big family. And looking at the scripture in James 1:27 that says, pure religion is looking after the widows and orphans, that was our driving force of, we've heard your call, Lord, here we are, use us. Yes. And so after having our 3rd child, he was about 3 years old, when the Lord told us now is the time, and we open our homes to adopt. And 10 years down the line, we now have got 12 children. We've got 4 biological, we've adopted 2 children, and 6 are in long-term foster care with us. And it's just been wonderful to be able to use what God has given us and love children with the love that he's given us to love them with.
It's wonderful, but I think that response of faith has not always been easy. It's been difficult, but you have had many testimonies of breakthrough just in your raising your family. Yeah. Shawn, if you can tell us a bit about that.
Lena, I think if I had to sum up and say which was really a moment that stood out for me was one of our kids. They come from all different backgrounds, but one specifically comes from a drug background. And I remember when she was young, she was a few months old, sitting in the early hours of the morning, I was sitting and I had her on my lap, and she was going through terrible withdrawals. And myself and Chantal was really looking at this and thinking, Lord, can we do this? And I remember questioning myself and saying, Lord, I don't know. I actually don't know if I can do this. But I clearly heard God saying, you know what, you can't, but through me you can do all things. And we sat there, we dealt with it. He gave us the strength and capacity, and I think that's what makes it real, is when you know that God is with you all the time. I also remember a time when we were in the shops with all the kids. Obviously 12 children can be overwhelming for any tiller. But we were standing there and somebody said, "Yo, you must have a lot of money, having so many kids." And I said, no, I think you got it wrong. We don't. Yeah. But our father owns a cattle on 1,000 hills. And it was just such an amazing time just to testify, you know, how God meets you at where you are at. And just to be content in that and just to feel and experience His love, I think speaks more than anything else to us. And the kids as well.
Amazing story of faith. It takes faith even to move into the space of foster care. Maybe Chantal, you can tell us why it's so important, especially given our South African context. What makes it important for us to engage in that space?
Sure, Leona, I think for us as South Africans, the need is just so great. There are so many children in the system, and it's such a negative system, if you can hear me right, of breaking children making attachments and being broken, making attachment being broken. And there is such a cycle of neglect and abuse, children being left without parents due to illness or death. And I can really see that it's the enemy's plan to destroy children's hope and to break up the family unit, because it's what God planned for us. And so for us as Christians to step in the gap and say we will foster can restore hope in children's lives. We can give children the hope that the devil is trying to destroy in them, and we can restore their joy and their trust in a loving Father who they might not trust any longer. And we can point them back to Christ and say, you know, He is a good God. Life may not turn out the way that you had planned it, but I believe that the Lord works out everything for the good of those who love Him and called according to His plans and purposes. And so even though things might have turned out pear-shaped, God can still use it. He's not oblivious to these things. And so I love reminding our children of the story of Moses, whose mother had to abandon him in order to save his life, and how the Lord used that to end up saving a whole nation. And Joseph's brothers who sold him into slavery. And once again, the Lord used him to save those very brothers who sold him. What a testimony there is. And we have an opportunity to raise up kingdom children who can change the cycle within their families, cut off all those ties of negativity, and they can be called towards Christ and live for Him. And we never know which child we're raising, what impact they are going to make in the world one day.
True. Thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your faith journey and just your obedience to say yes to the Lord. Thank you to the Faith Promise givers as well. You are a part of the story. You're a part of changing lives. Thank you so much for it.